Good morning, guys. My name is Megan and welcome back to my farm. I am doing my morning chores, feeding the chickens, walking around the property, checking everything, and doing about an hour of watering. So I figured I'd bring you guys along to tour my fall garden and what I put in. I've still got some old summer plants in here. I've got a lot of peppers, but let's go. In this first bed here, we have couple pepper plants, 1 and 2 that are still going. Those are red chili, as in hatch red chili pepper plants. The rest in here, the rest of the summer plants have been taken out, and I have transplanted several Brussels sprouts, which make up most of this bed. But I have, if you can see this little guy, interplanted some leeks into almost every one of these beds here. Brussels sprouts, Brussels sprouts. These 2 plants right here are calendula. And then growing up this trellis and the other trellis are going to be peas. I'm not certain of the variety, but I will put it down on the screen below. In the bed directly across from the Brussels sprouts, I have essentially a bed of cauliflower. All of this cauliflower is the Robles, R-O-B-L-E-S cauliflower, or Robles cauliflower. I also have Ragged Jack or Red Russian kale. A random lettuce here, I'm not sure of the variety. And then some more peas lining this trellis so that they're both going to grow up over each side of this trellis. Interplanted with all of this cauliflower, I have basil still going from the summer. This is Thai basil. And 2 calendula plants, a chamomile and a yarrow. And over here I have Genovese basil and dill. This is still going from summer, but this is a brand new plant I transplanted with the other fall crops. Just so y'all can maintain your bearings, I'm gonna start back down at the south end and work back up again along each row. So here in this 4x4 bed, we have a row of peas, which I will put the name on the screen as well. A green onion that went dormant during the summer, but when the cooler temperatures arrived with fall, it started growing again. This is eucalyptus. I've already harvested some this year, but it is still regrowing, and I'll harvest the last of it before the frost comes, because this won't make it over winter here. Calendula, 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 yarrow. This bed and that bed, they're both 1x4s, and they have peas here on the outside row. This is not a trellising pea, so it's not going to climb up. It's actually a bush pea, but I planted it so that when it grows, it can just drape over the edge of this bed. And then on the inside, I planted leeks, and all of these leeks are called American flag leeks. I planted two kinds of leeks in these beds. One was an American flag leek and the other was King Richard leek. In this particular 1x4 bed, I do know that these were American flag leeks, but the other ones are just interplanted between crops in my other beds, and I'm not quite sure which variety is which, so we'll see if they grow differently, significantly in a way that I can measure, but otherwise I don't know which ones are which. The other end of this 1x4 has the same peas and leeks, and this is Malabar spinach that was left over from the summer. I'm letting it grow so I can harvest the seeds. The seeds of which are already starting to come in, as you can see. They actually make a very beautiful magenta dye. Oh, you stinker, get! Get! I'm gonna stop letting you out in the mornings. Look at what they did while I was talking to you for 5 seconds. Ugh, he's still alive, but goodness. Just absolute tyrants. All right, back to the tour. The opposite, the north 4x4 bed, I still have a lot of summer plants in here. This is a perennial, so this is rosemary. It will last throughout the winter here in zone 8A. And the rest of these are green chilies, hatch green chilies. Obviously all these tall guys. I did plant some lettuces. Unfortunately, I do not know the names of any of these. I do know that this is a rutabaga. And that's about it. I have been getting rocked by cabbage moths this year. Look at this. Look at this poor guy. Oh my goodness. I do come out here daily and water and pick off as many little cabbage worms as I can find. And I do also spray spinosad, which is approved for organic gardening. It doesn't completely get rid of them, but it does make it maintainable to where obviously these plants are a bit chewed up, but they're still alive, they're still kicking, they're still growing, and they will still produce food. It's organic. It's okay if my food's a little ugly. I just went inside to grab more coffee, and then I looked at the time, and then I remembered I was supposed to be watering while I was touring. So let me put you on a time lapse real quick and get some of this done. This girl is ridiculous. Alright, while I'm watering the peppers, I'll give you a tour of the peppers. So I have the green chilies and the red chilies in other beds, just sporadic, but this is a dedicated pepper bed. So on this end, this is all green chili. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 plants. They're super tall because I planted them late summer, and they had to compete with these guys to get the same amount of sunlight. So they did grow really lanky, but they're still producing, which is fine. This and this, these are both shishito peppers, which are delicious. Just sauteed in oil and salt and pepper. These two are Thai chili peppers, which here's a ripe one right here. They're just a spicy green though. These Thai chili peppers are a great spice pepper. They are super, super, super hot and very prolific. The plants produce tons of these tiny peppers all the way up till frost. What I tend to do is I will either ferment them and make like a really spicy sriracha sauce, or dehydrate them and make a powder that we'll use to season meats and dishes and whatever the whole year. This here in the corner of the bed is my favorite pepper of the year and my favorite plant. It is the largest plant in this whole bed and was the biggest producer of all the peppers that I had comparatively. Of course, these are going to produce less than the Thais because they're larger, but this is the Padron pepper, which is a spicy red pepper, although you can eat it green just like this. I personally like really spicy foods, but these are a bit too hot when they're ripe to use as like a stuffed jalapeno or something. But they're great in every other way. I've made salsa, chilies, just eat them in dishes, and I've dehydrated them, and they are excellent. They're excellent producers. I'm definitely going to grow this next year. And they have the perfect amount of spice. This is an interesting pepper. It was my first time growing it, and it was the only plant that survived out of 6 seedlings that I started. It was so small, it didn't grow at all for the first month that it was out here. And now it's arguably the second largest plant in here and throws off hundreds of these tiny orange peppers. They aren't spicy. I'm not quite sure I know what to do with them. Maybe make a relish or pickle these. I only have one plant, so I'm not gonna do a whole lot. I'm not gonna can any of these or anything. They are delicious. I might grow them again next year. I'm not sure. I can't decide if they're a waste of space. Here I have another Padron pepper plant. This one was planted late summer, like these peppers were. That's why it's so small. But it's just as prolific as the other one though. I did have several bell pepper plants in here that I've since removed. See, there's a lot of space. They've been removed to give these peppers a chance to give me as many as they can before the frost hits in about a month. And the bell peppers weren't really going to produce anymore, at least not to the size that were usable in the time that we have left. So I just took them out. This bed is green onion. No, this is chives. Spearmint, which is going to take over this whole bed eventually, which is fine. That's why I put it here. And ginger, which I'm growing for the first time. It's doing okay. We'll see what it looks like when it's harvest time. This bed is largely broccoli. It is huge. These are as big as my face. And here's a calendula. Oh, hello guy. So these are all broccolis, and they are Desicho. I'll put it right here. That's the variety of this broccoli that I have in this bed. I have 2 parsleys, cabbage or rutabaga, trellising peas, another parsley. There's random lettuce over there, red Russian kale, calendula. And there's yarrow over there on that side and another kale. So as you can see, I interplant a lot of stuff here. Like in some of the beds, I'll focus on broccoli or cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, etc., etc. But I'll interplant in the small spaces where I can't have another broccoli plant because the broccoli gets too big. But it can fit a smaller lettuce plant. So I'll just use my space like that to get the most out of the few beds that I have. This bed at the far north end of the garden is a new addition. I put this in for the fall garden. Of course, I do want to expand the raised bed garden and the in-ground garden all the way to the driveway. but it's a later project. But this bed is newly planted this year with new soil, new mulch, everything. These are rutabagas and possibly some cabbages in here. Lettuce, kale, lettuce, rutabagas. I have a small section of leeks that I needed to stick somewhere, so I threw them over here. This is a whole row of red Russian kale, which is currently getting ravaged by cabbage worms. So these right here, I am very excited about because I have tried to grow radish for 2 years and I can never get it to germinate. I got this hybrid from Johnny Seed Company called the Sora radish, S-O-R-A. And look how many I have. Ah! Look at this guy. I am so excited. They're gorgeous. I'm so excited. Watering time again. I do plan on putting in an automatic watering system one day. You know, there's always another project. But for the time being, as long as it takes to water this whole garden by hand, it gives me a chance to look over my plants and check for pests and monitor my health and growth, and overall just love and enjoy my garden every day. So I'm not in any hurry to put an automatic watering system in yet. The raised bed garden is brand new this year. I have pretty poor sandy soil, which you can see in a previous video of mine. But I am making my own compost, and I did amend my soil with chicken manure from my chickens and bagged soil, mixed it all together, and then created these elevated in-ground beds. And they were pretty successful this year. I grew potatoes and various other crops. So, get the butt scratches. In this first row, I have a smorgasbord of things. I didn't plant these rows solely with one crop, obviously, as you can see. But even all of these brassicas right here are different, so I'm not going to be able to tell the difference in them right now. I know that I have several rutabagas and cabbages in here. I may have a broccoli or cauliflower. Like this guy may be a cauliflower broccoli. He got munched up and sun damaged. This is catnip. I do know that these two are cabbages and they're doing well. This is a rogue sweet potato vine that's gonna die and won't produce any sweet potatoes before the frost, but I'm letting him live for now. In this second row, more brassicas. These are surviving bean plants, which are still, oh, look at this little guy. Putting out beans that I am eating sporadically when they grow large enough and come up. But these guys are only gonna be good for about 30 more days and then they'll be done. But might as well get food from them while I can. Brassicas, probably cabbage. That for sure is a cabbage. And these are more beans. This little guy was a potato I left in the ground this spring. And he actually flowered right here. So, leave this guy until frost. I might actually get a couple potatoes out of him. Here, more brassicas, probably rutabagas. These are beans still going. Catnip. Broccoli or cauliflower, rutabaga. This is Roselle hibiscus that is producing some flowers. I may get a harvest off of it. You see right here. Before the frost. It won't be very large, but this is my first year growing it, so I will definitely try this again next year. In this last row, we have all rutabagas, some okra that's still going and ready. Let's go ahead and harvest this guy. If I wait till the end of the day, it'll be twice as big. This is the Hill Country red okra. There's some bean plants hiding down in here. I picked these last night and we had them for dinner. Another okra. More brassicas, unknown, and my last okra. This guy needs to go too. Nice. This this over here in my pile. And last but not least, I've got a few seedlings that I started. So in the fall, I like to succession sow a lot of my greens and even some brassicas. I'm still experimenting with the temperature and how long I can grow brassicas into the winter. But this year, I have been really up on the succession sowing and really keeping up with it, which reminds me I need to start some seeds today. So what I have here are some lettuces, a couple brassicas, some chard, and some leeks awaiting to be transplanted. What I'll usually do is the several lettuces that I have here in the bed, as I harvest them for a salad or whatnot and take them inside, I'll just transplant these little guys into that old spot with some earthworm castings or something to help them along. So that's what these guys here are waiting for. I have various lettuces that I don't know the name of. These are probably rutabagas. This is all chard, rainbow chard, and these are King Richard leeks, which they can get a little bit bigger before I separate them out and put them in. But if we're being honest, I actually don't know where I'm gonna put them because I've run out of space. So maybe I'll just have to build another garden bed. Okay, sit. Sit. We're gonna let. Look at the camera. Thank you for joining us on this garden. Right here. Thank you for joining us on this garden tour today. Bye, Freya.